everyone, welcome to Maybe Substance Show. My name is Fariba, and I can't believe it, today's the day. We are watching the season 1 finale of Daredevil Born Again, which also means that this marks the end of the first chapter of this Daredevil journey. 7 weeks. We've had 7 weeks of this really unique journey with Daredevil Born Again. It's kind of insane because it's like, you know, I've been through that experience with the Netflix series, and then for it to cancel, then just for it to come back. I mean, it's just been wowzers. But at the same time, I know throughout these 7 weeks, I've been a little bit more mixed about my reaction in terms of the show. And a lot of it is just because of how I kind of started with Daredevil and just the journey with Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio and their portrayals of Matt and Fisk. But that's not to say that I haven't thoroughly enjoyed this show. Like, I mean, last week, I absolutely was like losing my mind in a very good way. And what's great about tonight's episode is that it is also directed by the same dudes, Benson and Moorhead. I've been talking about them so many times now because I really do trust these guys. They are very underrated directors, and there's a reason why Kevin Feige hired these guys to be involved with not just Loki, but with Daredevil Born Again. I'm hoping going into the finale that it, you know, despite the fact that not everything was so great about the series in terms of its comeback, and that there were some irregularities here and there were some flaws. I think the best thing to do, of course, is to make sure that it has a very satisfactory conclusion, as well as setting up the beats for going into season 2, because this show itself has already been renewed for season 2. So this is not the end of the journey for Matt Murdock, and I'm going to assume an extension Wilson Fisk. We'll see what happens tonight, especially with what happened with last week's episode and how Matt actually took the bullet for Wilson Fisk, even saved his life. So that's going to blow people's minds. And I know there's going to be some certain people coming back, if you know what I mean. Yeah, I don't even want to wait any longer. So without further ado, let's get right down into the season 1 finale of Daredevil Born Again.
FBI corruption scandal agent Nadeem all that. It's why my husband was acquitted. It's only fair to benefit you too.
He, oh my god! He matters in this world.
Called Benjamin Cafaro and his lawyer, Foggy Nelson.
Oh, bitch.
Remember him. Escaped the past, didn't we?
The case he's involved with would...
See? We knew there had to be a reason.
To get your mind back. Your...
Oh, Vanessa.
No
Manipulative bitch.
He's always part of this.
It's a simple offer.
I love how the details that they actually use like a marker and not like an actual pen. The details.
Karen?
Oh boy.
It's the drugs.
I mean, we like Karen too.
Heather. Okay. I have access to it from here.
Hey, listen, you're on a ton of medication.
I know how this sounds.
I really don't think you do. I don't think you do, okay?
Still shaking.
Oh my
All that
god,
cares
he
that you're
has.
still alive.
Oh my god, he has all of Matt's blood on his blazer. Just think of that.
I know. I know.
He knows. Oh boy.
We can move billions.
Ah, that's great.
Gallo and the police.
Luca.
Let's present themselves.
This is too much for you. This is too real.
However much you think you know Fisk, you don't. And
Once you've had some rest.
I'll be out in a second.
body cams, no due process, no
Oh my
warrants.
God.
Sir, that not only goes against the operating principles of the NYPD, it's illegal. I mean, next you'll be condoning the use of lethal
Condoning,
force.
absolutely not. Encourage. Now you all have a job to do. Buck, one moment, please.
Someone.
No,
You want him
quite the
dead.
opposite. Imagine if our fearless lawyer from Hell's Kitchen were to succumb to his wounds.
That's what I
he sustained
figured.
by trying to save the mayor.
Someone is violating the games here, I see.
I'm really, really glad that you're gonna be okay. I am. But we're gonna.
So glad, sir.
Oh no.
Sometimes our reactions are worse than the offenses that cause them.
Oh no.
Sheila, know who in my staff is loyal and who is not. People talk to you.
Yeah, you can say that I've gotten ear to the ground here.
Who's not completely on board. Home.
Oh my God. Too real.
Yes, sir.
This is still the mayor's office, not the kingpin's, and he is still subject to the law. And I'm hoping for your support.
Coup d'etat?
When?
Tomorrow, I leave for Albany first thing.
Oh, it's a coup d'etat, guys.
Well,
It's a coup
there's
d'etat.
no way I can go with you. But if you need me to put it...
Oh, he's still underestimating Matt Murdock, I see. Oh no. Oh my God, I know this song. Well, that was easy for him. Oh my God. Ma, you don't think he's gonna come after you at your apartment?
No, your
Hey!
power goes out. You got nothing to make a goddamn pot of coffee in this house.
Well, not everyone lives in a fallout shelter, Frank.
Man.
Have a shave and a haircut.
Yeah, I did it for you.
Thought this wasn't your fight.
Yeah, we'll call. Change my mind.
Phone
Care to be more
call.
specific?
No, I do not. I
Karen?
promised I was gonna get you out of here alive. That's exactly what I'm gonna
Karen.
do.
It was Karen.
Northwest side of the house was a van full of shit. Kind of help, Frank. Yeah, well, that's the kind of help you got.
Oh my God. This is gonna be brilliant.
You right
Yeah.
for that asshole.
Good question.
That is a good question.
I know you too well, Matt. Are they really at Matt's apartment? Really? Really? They're about to meet the real Punisher. Ah, that's the real Punisher.
Frank, stop!
Oh my! Oh my! Oh my! Oh my! This is far more bloody than I thought. We did good, Ray.
That yours? Yeah, you recognize that? You killed Hector. He was a good man.
Do what you gotta do. I still am my own. I can die easy.
Do it, Red.
Don't do it.
Come on, he's not worth it.
Stop it, Frank! No!
How about that, huh?
What is wrong with you? You can't help yourself, can you?
Goddamn hands off of me!
Goddamn liability every time. I'll get you.
What's wrong with you?
Like a married couple. Oh. Grenade.
You're an asshole, Frank.
Good times. Karen? Yeah. It's Karen. It's Karen. Yeah. Figured that's the phone call.
Come on. Get in.
Call Frank, huh?
Yep. Let's be honest.
Poindexter escaped. Frank and hopped on a plane. No, thank you.
How about you, Red?
Awkward.
You want some coffee?
So,
Oh my god, he's looking so good in the red suit.
Not Daredevil. Bold even for Fisk.
That's right. You be my eyes?
Hey, anytime.
Let's go.
The most reliable person right now in this whole show, Karen.
You coming, Frank?
Gosh, you asked me for a favor. I did it.
Yes, you did.
In a couple of hours.
Giving
We
too
hope
much
to
Tony
set the streets
Soprano
with your full
vibes.
support. If not, let us know.
Show me your hands!
What's up, kid? It's a mass vigilante.
That is fucked up.
I can't believe I didn't check what he did before. He talked to Frank Love. What?
Sound like you're jealous.
I was about to say.
You know, back at his place, I heard your heartbeats.
Really not
Stalking.
fair.
We're not going to just skip
You
over
hear
what
my
happened in
life, are you?
Punisher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are we flirting? Oh my.
Avocados of law. Avocados.
Avocados. And he called it avocado.
Foggy was really drunk one night and I was stupid. It somehow became.
God. Oh my god. We're acknowledging everything from Daredevil, guys. The good times.
I thought it was a truck robbery.
No. This is about the Fisks building their own city-state. Let's go see what they're hiding.
City state with no law, no nothing, no taxes, just whatever the hell Fisk wants. The real Punisher. Oh, hell no. They better not be killing Frank Castle here. Uh-oh.
Hoping for your support.
I knew she was gonna rat him out.
When?
Tomorrow, I'm leaving for Albany first thing.
Well, there's no way I can.
I figured. I knew it. She was gonna rat him out. I knew it.
You need me to put in a word.
She ratted you out. I figured that was gonna happen. Yeah, at least he's still alive. Oh, bitch. Punisher wannabes.
It's an honor to meet you, Castle.
Oh.
I'm a big admirer of you more. These guys fucking idolize you, man. They all do. It'd be an honor to serve with you, Frank.
What the frick?
Never really there for the rank and file, were you?
You're in a very lawless land.
Risking their lives to keep New York safe.
Out of your fucking mind, you know that? You're a bunch of clowns, you know that? You fucking clowns. Why me? How I see the world. You know how I see the world? This is a circus. A bunch of clowns. How you gonna show
He
me
did
you?
the thing.
I want fucking.
Oh, he's doing the thing.
We will keep this
Oh,
city
he's doing the thing.
safe.
Any questions? Good.
You guys are like 5 minutes late.
Crawling with task force. Fisk has the courts. He's got the cops. He's got an army. Now you can go down
Sounds
there
like
and
someone
confront
we
him
know.
and we'll probably die. But you can't beat him. Not like that. You have to be smart.
I'm gonna take this city back, Karen.
Where we start.
We need an army.
It would be my honor, Mayor Fisk.
Either she's being genuine or she's playing some games too. I hope it's the latter.
Good morning. We survived. Together. As you may know, there was an attempt on my life by a vigilante last night. And in the act of sabotage, martial law. Now, with the rule of law restored, we can go back to our pursuit of life, liberty, happiness together in the finest city in the world. I love New York.
Oh.
I didn't know who I was anymore.
I'm about to be born again.
Boggy believed in you. All of it. I knew you. I do too.
Yeah. Put it on! Put it on! There you go.
The system isn't working.
Oh no! He's been in prison.
Corrupt.
That's effed up. And there's that mural that we all remember from season 3. I love that visual.
It's an honor to meet you. Thank you, Anthony.
I knew he was not going to be there forever. So that was the season 1 finale of Daredevil Born Again, and I like where things have ended off. Now, how do I even start this? So let's just talk about the episode in general, just start things off. It's just as expected. I mean, it was what I expected coming from Benson and Moorhead. The fact that we have a continuation of last week's episode and seeing the consequences of it, and one that is very, very serious and very impactful and consequential. Yeah. Like, I mean, it couldn't be any more it couldn't be too much nose goes on like the whole realities of how this feels. It's just like, yeah, I'm not gonna get too deep into that, but honestly, like, let's be honest, we kind of figured that this is what Wilson's gonna do. Now, one of the things I'm really happy about watching this episode is just knowing that there's now a full circle to the whole situation that happened from the first episode until now, because I think for a long time, I think we're all just kind of like, is it really just Poindexter just going to randomly just, murder, assassinate Foggy? Like, it just doesn't seem like his MO. And now just seeing what really happened, and even getting the flashback of that moment with Vanessa and how she ordered the whole thing, and how it had enough, and how Poindexter himself just had to do what he needed to do to survive, I guess. And realizing that he's also a victim in all this. It's just like, it definitely puts a new perspective for everything. And I love that we finally got a lot more answers in regards to that. And I think that there's no other way to really address that. I just think that when we are looking at the whole vibe of the series, it's just like the things could have actually built up a little bit better on that. Because it just was going a little bit too, like, it was a little bit very irregular and inconsistent with the whole pacing. But even that being the case, I'm still happy that we got a lot of answers, things that make far more sense, and also just as I imagine this whole series is going to be, right? Just this whole journey for Matt, and how he, for the longest time with the death of Foggy, like, he wasn't himself anymore, and he let that alter ego go for a long time because of the darkness that he was feeling, and realizing that, just the consequences of that and how he felt for that 1 year. And he even has a conversation with Karen. Like, and I will say, like, I mean, given the fact that we do get some fight sequences, it is also one that's very deep in the dialogue and what Matt is feeling in the moment, and just all of that really unraveling. I have to give a lot of props again to Benson Moorhead as usual. This is how they are. I know a lot of people, like, I have a good feeling that a lot of people may not like this episode just because of the style of it. And and the way I was watching it, I can really get the sense of this being a very Benson and Moorhead kind of vibe with their direction, because this is just how they are. They're very artsy, they're very visual, but also very direct and specific with details. I mean, I love the details that we have in this episode. I think that's just the one thing. Like, I have to give them props just for being very specific about the details, whether it be something like the pen not being a pen, but more so a marker, making sure that, because of the fact that I think he was in like an asylum, that you can't really have pointing things, so you have to have a marker to make him do the signature. And then seeing some of the deaths that we have and some of the fight sequences, and then it just was really meticulous in the details, and I really love that. I think that's something that I really have to applaud Benson and Moorhead for the fact that they're really particular about the details, even the dialogue, and what Matt is having that conversation with Karen, and him addressing why he shut himself out as Daredevil and how he decided not to be Daredevil for that 1 year. Those are the specific details that I want. Those are the specific details I really was desiring for this whole series. I'm happy that I got that in the last 2 episodes, because I think that's just what we really needed. And if this is the direction that they're going into for season 2, I am very on board. Now, just again, going into the whole series, as I said, it's not the most perfect season I've seen. I feel like if we're gonna compare it to Netflix, I think what I like about the Netflix version is the fact that you can see kind of how things were a little bit more consistent, things were a little bit more connected in terms of storytelling, whether it be kind of adding in the subplots or deviating into the subplots and then kind of bringing it back to the main branch of the story. I think that's what I really liked about the Netflix series, that you can see the buildup of certain things and how everyone's very connected. Whereas here's like, I was kind of having some issues with some episodes where they were kind of deviating a little bit from the main arc. But again, thankfully we do get a lot of closure. So like the Ayala thing, we got closure for that. We now know who killed him. So we got answer to that, which I'm happy to, well, I wouldn't say I'm happy that this is scenario, but I'm glad that we got some answers with that. Of course, the point interesting with Foggy, bringing that back full circle from the first episode. I wish that could have been a little bit more direct and a little bit more of the focus throughout. And I think that's kind of where I was having some issues with this whole series, is that it was just like, if, for instance, the Muse thing, right? With the Muse, we had him. He was there for 2 episodes. He was referenced a couple episodes before, but they quickly concluded the whole Muse thing. And I feel like this is one of those cases where I wish there could have been maybe another 2-3 episodes to just kind of tighten up the story and not be, you know, a little bit too jumbly with the pacing. So that's just the only reason why I'm not saying that this is the perfect season that I've seen out of it. Just because I feel like when you compare it to Netflix, I think the whole approach to the storytelling was a little bit better with the Netflix version than with this version. But even that being the case, right, I think this is still a very great show. Again, for one that's really reintroducing to Daredevil and bringing him back to the world after, 7 years? 7 years. And then showing a whole different perspective about it. I mean, I think what I loved about this season, at least in comparison to what we've seen before, is that it's a lot more sophisticated, it's a lot more violent. We saw this in the finale too, just how violent some of the action sequences are. Like, I mean, Frank was going full on retcon with all those guys at Matt's apartment. I was just like, holy crap, I don't even think we saw that much violence in the Netflix series. So props to that. I hope that continues into season 2. I feel like that's going to happen in season 2. So I'm looking forward to that. What else? I'm trying to think. There was one thing I had in mind about the Netflix series and I can't remember. Oh, the details. Okay, so going back to details a little bit, I appreciate that this is a show that still acknowledges the Netflix series, because I remember right before before they started making, when they had the original script, right? The original thought was that it was going to be a whole revival and it was going to be a little bit more Disney-fied, which also meant that they were not really going to acknowledge the events of the Netflix series. And then, of course, the whole strikes happened, and they did a whole rewrite, and then that's when they're like, oh, we're going to redo this from scratch. And then they're like, yeah, we're actually going to refer back to the Netflix series. I'm glad that they did, because the fact that they even acknowledged some details from the original series, whether it be Agent Nadeem, like the fact that we actually acknowledged him here, I was just like, whoa, I didn't even think they were going to go that deep into, like, you know, making the Netflix series canon. And now that is, I feel like at this point, most of Daredevil from the Netflix series is now canon to this show. Like, now that means that it's canon to the MCU for sure. So I love that. Like, we got to see details of that. Then we, of course, see that artwork that we saw at the end of season 3. And I love those details. I feel like this is what I really love Benson Moorhead, because I know with one of them, they're like really huge Daredevil fan. I think they've read the comics and they really know what it means to acknowledge and be consistent with the details. And again, they did the first episode and last 2 episodes. So it makes so much sense. Like, if you were to really combine those 3 episodes together, I feel like you can really see how they're all very much connected and how they all are like you can see how they seem like a complete trilogy in terms of an episode. Like, if you were just to watch the first episode and the last 2 episodes, like it just feels like a full movie when you think about it. So, and not just that, but just to see how they were able to direct those episodes, make it not just about the style, but also adding in the substance. This is why I love them. This is why they are honestly one of the most promising directors, why they're one of the most underrated directors. I've been saying this before. I've watched them. I've known their work since Endless. Then they did Loki season 2, and then the finale that they did, like, I'm pretty sure that was them. Beautiful. Here, they did a pretty good job with setting up the finale and building up to what is looking to be the season 2 arc. Is it my favorite content coming from them? Not at all. I think the last week's episode was something that was definitely a lot more thrilling. But even with tonight's episode, I mean, it just makes me feel really comfortable. The fact that they are going to be returning for season 2. They're going to be doing some directing as well. I hope they're going to do a lot more work on it, because I think that just their vision is very consistent with what I want as my expectations for the quality of the show. And if that's the case, I'm excited for season 2. Now, going into that, right? We see what happened here, right? We see what Wilson Fisk does. He is basically going all martial law. That makes me wonder how that's going to affect Spider-Man, because Spider-Man is in New York. And I know that technically speaking, there's been a lot of conversations about that. Like, yes, Spider-Man is in the same city, but he was not allowed to be on the show because of the whole Sony Marvel rights deal, which is totally fine. But now it makes me wonder if this is going to have an impact on Spider-Man 4. And that's why they have all that going on and why it's taking so long with that. So I'm actually very curious how that's going to have an impact. I wonder if there's going to be direct reference to this, or if that's going to actually even set up Spider-Man 4. That makes me question a lot of things, because it impacts him a lot. Then also just thinking about it in a wider scope with the MCU is like, okay, if this is happening in New York is like one of the biggest cities in America and in the world. Like, we cannot just ignore what Wilson Fisk is doing when we try to acknowledge things beyond, right? Whether it be with Doctor Strange or when we have Doomsday, or like, I wonder how that's going to have an impact. I mean, there has to be some consistency when you look at the wide scope of the universe. So those are some of my big questions. Just like, how much are they going to reference this in a wider scope of the MCU, especially with Spider-Man 4, because that seems to be really progressing in terms of development, especially now that there is a director. So Singh just got casted. So it's like, okay, if we have all that, wouldn't that mean that that's going to affect Spider-Man 4? Now, that's just me speculating. I'm not saying that, oh, this is confirmation or anything like that. I'm just simply speculating. But that just makes me, like, that was just going in my head the moment that we got this revelation that Wilson Fisk is now putting a martial law order into New York City. We already see what he's doing with the task force. They're already abusing their power like crazy. They're even killing just people for minuscule crimes, whether it be looting or theft. So yeah, I mean, I'm very curious to see what's going to happen moving forward with the show. It's pretty clear what the direction is going to be for season 2 as well. The fact that he's going to basically build an army for himself, like, I'm very curious to see how that's going to have an impact, and whether or not that means that we're going to have other characters come in. We know for a fact that a lot of characters will be returning. So we know for a fact that Deborah Ann Wall is going to return as Karen Page. I had a feeling she was going to show up at some point. I was like, if there's anybody who can really comfort Matt and his persona as Daredevil, it's going to be her, right? She's the only one who can really understand what he's going through. So nice to see that she's going to be back. I'm hoping in a much bigger capacity, because I would imagine that a lot of the reasons why she wasn't here is because of how things turned out. But it's very clear that there's going to be an army being built. We kind of have an idea of where the alliances are going to be. It looks like Frank is going to be getting out of, his cage fairly quickly. I also wonder if that means it's just going to be him, or he's going to help everyone else in there. We'll see about that. I feel like there's also going to be cases where we're going to have other people kind of turning on their alliances. Like, I'm questioning whether Heather really took the job because she's actually interested, or if she took the job just because she wants to actually help. Like, she actually took Matt's word. So that's going to be another big question. Like, did she really take it for real, or she just took it because she might be the one way to kind of get in deep into Wilson's trust, and also try to expose him when the time comes. I wonder if that's why she's been around this far along, and how things have transpired, especially with the whole Muse thing. So I have questions about that. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty clear that this was set up as a direct way to build up to season 2. And as I said, the whole series itself is not the most perfect season that I've seen, whether it be just with the MCU or just shows in general. But I do like the fact that we still have set up something for season 2. That makes me be a little bit more anticipated, as well as have a lot of expectation for season 2, knowing the fact that they've now set up this storyline and built up to this moment now that, and hopefully without any more obstacles along the way, that they're going to be able to complete the rest of season 2 with a much more tight, cohesive storytelling and writing. That's also still very stylistic. Again, I hope we get to see a lot of Benson Moorhead direct some episodes. But yeah, I mean, we've seen where this has gone. I mean, it's not the greatest, as I said before, but it's very promising. I believe we're probably going to get season 2 by next year. So this is not going to be those cases where we're going to have to wait like 2-3 years for the next season, unlike some other shows. We're actually going to get it next year. So we don't have to wait too long. Hopefully not too long, because I do want to see how they're going to conclude that, as well as what it means for Matt himself and how he's going to continue with his journey. But yeah, I'm just happy to see that he's back. He's back for, he's back. I'm happy to see Charlie Cox is back as Daredevil. I just can't wait to see what's going to happen in season 2, because I am very hyped to see how he's going to handle the whole situation with Wilson Fisk. I'm happy now that we have this battle between them, because I mean, the whole reason why the show has been so great, or at least the original shows have been so great, is the fact that we have this conflict between Wilson Fisk and Matt Murdock. I know with season 1, it's like, you can see how they're kind of trying to be other people or trying to be other things, and that was never going to work. They're going to always go back to their old habit, because they know that that's what they desire, that's what they want, that's what they hunger. We got to see them progress through that, and now we get to see them in their full-fledged versions in season 2, and we're going to see them fairly a lot between them and confronting each other, which is exactly what we need, because that's what made the original Netflix series the best thing ever. And I hope that, even if the bumps in the road that we felt with season 1, that it would at least alleviate a lot of the issues, or at least try to amend a lot of the issues, or at least season 2 can amend a lot of the issues when we get that, just because of the fact that we now have a direction. It's going to be very tight, hopefully. It's not going to go too deep into too many subplots. We have the characters, we have the players that are going to be very crucial going into season 2, because we're in a very high stakes situation, especially now that there is a martial law. There's someone who is abusing his power, and alongside that, allowing a lot of the people around him to abuse that power as well. So, which again, it just feels so much on the nose right now with what's happening in the real world. But yeah, I mean, I guess that's why we enjoy these kinds of shows, just to see how things play out. So, but yeah, I think that is all I have to really say about Daredevil Born Again. A pretty solid series finale. I want to say it's my favorite season overall, just because I feel like the Netflix series were a lot more tied, a lot more focused in their storytelling. But even that being the case, I at least appreciate the fact that we got some answers, and not only that, but at least setting up season 2, so that way hopefully season 2 is going to be actually very tight and cohesive in the storytelling, knowing the fact that now we're going to have this really, really big conflict between Wilson Fisk and Matt Murdock, and then we're going to have their alliances, their players, they're going to build their army, and now we're going to see how that's going to transpire and how that's going to affect everyone. Of course, there's going to be questions about this in terms of the, wider scope of the MCU, but that's just something we're going to have to wait and see when we get, future episodes or future movies. We'll just have to see how that's going to have an impact. But I think that's all I have to say about Daredevil Born Again. That's a wrap on our journey right here. Hopefully we'll get season 2 by next year. We don't have to wait too long for it. I know they're going to be shooting that soon if they have not already. But let me know your thoughts on now, having seen the full scope of season 1, Daredevil Born Again. If you are someone who's actually seen the original series as well, what are your thoughts having seen the whole series as a whole so far? How would you compare it in terms of the original show? I would say, in terms of my ranking, I would probably put it at a 3. I think it's at least better than season 2 in my opinion, but it's really hard to top season 1 and season 3. I think season 1 is just near perfect in my opinion, but maybe you have the thoughts. What are your expectations going into season 2, knowing the fact that this is what has now been built up to at this point? Do we think that Frank's going to meet up with Daredevil very quickly? Because that seems to be the case here. I think the big question, of course, is how this is going to affect the wider scope of the MCU, especially with, with movies that are in development like Spider-Man 4, because Spider-Man is in New York. He would probably be affected by this martial law. So is this going to have an impact on something like Spider-Man 4? Is it going to be acknowledged? That's going to be a big question right there. What does this mean for the wider scope of the MCU? Are we going to expect other players? We know the Poindexter is out in the air somewhere, but we don't know where his situation is going to be. Although I would expect that he's going to show up in season 2 as well. Wilson Fisk and Vanessa Fisk are basically made for each other. So what does this mean moving forward? Your thoughts and predictions going into season 2, and what are your expectations now having seen the whole series, as well as just your overall vibes? And let me know your thoughts about seeing these episodes. Like, what do you think about the season finale, season finale right here? What are your thoughts about that? And any other comments, questions that you have now having completed this first season of Daredevil Born Again? Let me know your thoughts below. Make sure to like and subscribe.